Phil Matthew coming to you from Unlocking Your Potential. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are in the world. And the question right now is, how do we deal with our terror barriers? And we'll get to that in shortly. At Unlocking Your Potential, just reminding you that what we deal with here is big change and creating change that sticks. Harnessing, the energies of the mind, getting the best out of ourselves, and getting our energies to flow, in a certain way. And so this question of how do we deal with our terror barriers is an interesting one, because what we're dealing here with is our doubts, our worries, our insecurities, our fears, and our anxieties, and that's why we call it the terror barrier. In fact, I didn't call it that. One of my mentors, Bob Proctor, he was the one that coined that phrase, the terror barrier. But how do we deal with our terror barriers? And so it sort of makes me think about getting the mind to do the work for you. How do you get the mind to do the work for you? How do you get your mind to do the work for you? And so therefore it makes me think of the three questions that are sort of on my mind quite a lot is, what do we need to do to create the results that we want? What do we need to do each day to create results that are way out of proportion, to the time spent, meaning we can put a small amount of time in but get a very big result on the other end, a leverage result, a scaled result, if you like. And then the question of what do we need to do each day to create results we've previously never even dreamed of before, which means that there's these ideas and thoughts that are going to come to you tomorrow, next week, in a month, next year, in a couple of years from now, that are going to make your life so much better than it is now. And so this question around dealing with these terror barriers, it makes me think about a question, and the question would be, what's the one word that leads to freedom? Because everybody, wants to feel free. If you're living in one of the first nation countries, we have a certain amount of freedom ordinarily. There you go, ordinarily. But it's not extraordinarily. Some people are seeking more, they're seeking better, they're seeking bigger. They want to become better people. They like the idea of growth, a growth mindset, and as opposed to maybe a fixed mindset. So this idea of the one word that leads to freedom, the answer to that is understanding. And so then that begs the next question of, what do we have to understand? Well, it leads to, we have to understand how our mind operates. And how does our mind operate? It operates in a certain way. So not just any old way, but in a certain way. And that certain way is another question. What's the certain way? And it's by law. And so, as I referred to Bob Proctor earlier, he was the guy that introduced these laws into my life. He talked about 7 primary laws and 11 secondary laws. Universal law of perpetual transmutation, the universal law of cause and effect, the universal law of vibration, which sort of bleeds into a secondary law of the universal law of attraction, which a lot of people have heard of. And so these the purpose of these laws, though, is to bring your mind into harmony, with the laws that govern your being, which is a beautiful place, to live, essentially. And then it begs the question, what's the power of the mind? And the power of the mind is in the muscles of the mind, and being able to understand that you have these muscles, and then actually knowing how to exercise these muscles of the mind, being your perception, your will, your intuition, your imagination, your memory, and your reason. So, and all that sort of leads to this idea of what's the meaning of it all, and it is that we become, what we think about. So there it is. How do we deal with our terror barriers? Well, we've got to go through that process. So I hope you've got something out of this video, and maybe I've got you to think on a different nuanced way, or challenge you to say maybe investigate a bit further outside of the general mainstream of headspace, attitude and mindset, positive thinking, reading, which is all very important. It's all a fantastic start, but there are places that we can go, beyond that. So if you've liked this video, then certainly, as far as social media protocols go, consider the idea of, clicking the like button, or leaving a comment, or asking a question, or even, sharing it. There is information around this if you want to get more information about what I do related to mental facilitation. And if you're looking for help, there's also a link to my calendar if you wanted to book in a time, if you're looking for help. So that's it. I've enjoyed delivering this video, and I look forward to talking to you again down the track. Bye.